All right, guys, what is happening? Welcome to episode 3. I've just finished editing it. I do want to make this a common thing of just doing the reaction, I guess, to me trading first and then going into it. So took 2 losses early, but we did manage to flip this to be up a few $100s at the end of the session. Biggest takeaways is one, trading against the trend, unless I see displacement at a key time, and that's really what got us the win today. We still went against the trend, but it was waiting for that kill zone time and the displacement. If I'm trying to do it outside of a kill zone without displacement, I'm just asking for trouble for myself, especially going against the trend too. But yeah, we did manage to call this one, especially being a Monday. Moving away from the overall direction is where I sort of highlight my bias, especially since we've been moving pretty steadily up. So we took a short, ended up about $700 on the day across 4 accounts. So good result for this day, but definitely want to implement one, sticking to my word as well. So whenever I say I want to do something and this is the plan, rather than adding 3 or 4 other plans or changing my mind, I really want to try stick to the one. And so that just means taking more time to be fully assured with this is the plan that I want to do. Doing it quickly, obviously I'm going to look at the chart and be like, oh, I actually didn't think about that and maybe I need to change it, but it doesn't matter. That's the price that I'm going to pay for rushing into the analysis and doing it quickly. Just stick to what I say. And so we're really going to try and implement this going forward. As always, any feedback, any questions, leave them in the comments below. But thank you for your time. I do really appreciate that, and enjoy the video. Peace. All right. How are we doing, guys? It is 1:45 p.m. Just approaching the end of Asian session here. And NQ. Wow. What a morning from this run. It looks like on the 4 hour, we've respected 50% of this BC. I still think we've got room for this to potentially run down. It'll be interesting to see how we react here. So we've still got all of these levels from last week. Let's tidy up the charts. All right, brilliant. So looking from a higher time frame, just seeing where we're at. This was Friday's day. I'm anticipating a bit of a TGIF reversal. We have all of this low resistance liquidity. We've got another daily FVG in here, which we will just mark. Fundamentally, it doesn't really make sense for us to come all the way down here on trading economics. Shout out to Sam, a good mate of mine on Discord, who showed me this website. It's really quite advanced. I used to use Forex Factory, which, don't get me wrong, is still quite good to be able to know when the main stuff's coming out, but this just takes it to a whole nother level in terms of the amount of countries you can look. I'm pretty sure it's every country, and yeah, just their economic status at the time. So we got no news today, but we do have building permits tomorrow night, which would be interesting to look at. It looks like the previous was 1.425. The forecast is more. Well, from a fundamental standpoint, I see the US dollar still performing quite strongly at the moment. I'm actually interested in a bit of a short right now. I don't think we're going to get all the way down here yet. I do think we've got room, especially on a 4 hour. We'll mark out these levels too. Looks like we're trying to flip bearish as well. If we just check the hourly here. Yep. So we do close pretty strongly bullish on the hourly. This could just be a minor pullback, maybe to VWAP before we take off. Moving average again, we'll just keep VWAP. I'm finding that VWAP works quite well in terms of respecting price, especially on a lower time frame. As we were doing before, we got this 4 hour SIBI. We also have another above. So we got these 2 levels of potential reversal. We've obviously got gaps all the way in here, but I think this is going to be the opportunities where people going short get caught offside because they're not anticipating this overall move. So as we were saying last time, expecting that reaction of the daily BC to keep going to all-time highs. This pocket right here, or potentially even here, I'll mark this value gap out as well. The reason why it could come down here, if you look on the lower time frame again, is we have a lot of low resistance liquidity to the downside, which hasn't been filled. So even maybe on a hourly, let's say. So we got all of this low resistance. We got a gap in here. We got equal lows here as well. which is susceptible to be taken. There's just a lot of price action. These lows here, all of this low resistance as well, all low resistance, all going up through here. Like we haven't worked any of these lows at all. And then we have that daily gap in here. So we've got our key levels on a higher time frame marked out. And this is just where we're anticipating our reversals and things like that. I'll just quickly check a weekly just to see. So again, all of this low resistance running up through here as well. On a weekly, there's not enough reason for us to come down here. Yes, there's a tiny little gap in between here, tiny little gap, but it just doesn't make sense, especially from a fundamental standpoint. Being at all-time highs again, all of these reasons. I do think long ultimately is the move. We missed that insane run in the morning. This is what I was talking about on episode 2 as well. If we go back to the strategy, I was looking for entries I'm going to get in and verifying on a 15 minutes. We have this wick that comes down here. We have this incredibly bullish candle, this order block. So essentially your entry could be here, stop loss here, and price just doesn't come anywhere near this point. And we're continuing to rip. Your risk to reward would be insane. Be a 2.69R, or if you were patient enough to wait for this FVG entry, crazy. There's still potential for this to come up. Tap this 4-hour CB, 7RR, come to this second one, about 11RR, and then run all the way back to the highs as well. That's the power of this scalping move, especially when you got a fair bit of size on too. Copy trading across the 4 accounts. Really, I'm anticipating a bit of a reversal. I think we've had some steep momentum up. We've tried to go higher multiple times. We haven't actually broke. We have this high, which it looks like it was just a bit of a liquidity grab, especially on the 15 with these 2 down closing candles, with this closure closing way below 50% here. We're just going to check on a 5-minute as well, see if we have anything similar. Looking for one more test, potentially if we can get up to here, or maybe 50% of this wick. Looking for one more down closure candle, and then we're going to be entering a short, potentially taking majority off a VWAP. That looked to go pretty well yesterday. I'm just trying to see where the pullback zone would be. Check the higher time frames here again. We have hourly bissies all in through here. I'm just going to label these a different color. These are lower time frame key levels. So we've got this hourly candle closing quite soon. And this is really what you wouldn't want to see if you were going long. That the steep move, come down a little bit, looks like we're going to explode. And then this whole next hour, we've just ranged. We've wicked the highs and we're just ranging. So we'll see what happens in this last 5 minutes. Just making sure my voice is... I noticed from the last recording, my audio was a little all over the shop because I kept moving and my mic kept moving. So try to stay in the same spot with the mic at the same distance. So hopefully it sounds a bit better for you guys as well. Approaching the end of this hourly closure here. Cool. So another thing I'm going to try and incorporate into the trades as well is just watching Dixie, which is the US dollar index. It really does dictate what price everywhere else is going to be doing. And usually with NQ, it's working inversely. I want you actually want AU on this side. So I'm also watching the Australian futures. Being based in Australia, it's a good idea for me to keep up to date with my market. Looks like we're converging, not great conditions. We've got this massive gap, and we see this gap in a lot of the Australian pairs. Let's see if we go or JPY, break this higher time frame. We've got this gap on a 4-hour as well. Looks like we've reacted off that quite nicely. Still got this gap over here. So this is where I'd be wanting to look to short the Australian dollar. We've got that hourly closure now for NQ. Nothing that I can see to facilitate a short to the downside now. We're at probably 50% of this wick now for this closure. Looks like we're respecting. We've got a fair value gap just above here. Got that volume imbalance as well. Be interesting to see how we react to this stuff. And so we're really wanting that first confirmation on a 5-minute at least that we've got enough sellers interested to if we push this lower. And just looking to take partials in all these spots. Plan will be to enter 2 lots as soon as we get some sort of Reversal back closure below 50% of the previous candle. If we can floor through, close below liquidity, we'll look to add more to the size. Got this volume imbalance now. We'll just check on a lower time frame because we've already tested it on the one here. Doesn't give me much confidence that we actually hold, more than likely, especially with this strong bullish closure, unless we get a strong downward closure. We'll just wait and see all time frames just to make sure we haven't missed anything. We got this 15-minute wick as well. This is quite interesting. Trying to use consequent encroachment this week just to see how the trade's going to go. So even though this wick is going up, I'm seeing that because we were up and then majority of the momentum came down, I'm actually going to try my fib from top to bottom rather than from bottom to top. And we're close to 50% here. Haven't quite reached it, so just going to give it a little bit of room here. We have this first sign that we want to move lower with a 15-minute closure way below, but then we also have this massive closure on the upside as well. So just watching what we do here at this 50% if we get to it. Trying to see on a micro time frame maybe if it aligns with a fair value gap or something like that. Got these volume imbalances up at about 60%, and we're just getting ready for our short here. The main thing is, even though we have all this nice bullish candles on a lower time frame, a strong bullish momentum, we're closing strong bullish, but on these higher time frames, we're seeing us trying to go up, and actually a lot of sellers get interested at around these levels right here. See if we can hold this 5-minute volume imbalance, respect it or disrespect. Ideally, I should be waiting for the next 5 minutes to see if we can get a run down here, but we'll just watch the micro time frames and see what's happening here. So on a 30-second, we're still respecting that level. Even on a 15-second, appears we're respecting. Apart from now, we just disrespect. Watching this wick now as well, whether we respect 50% of it. And that's a cool thing about price being fractal. So it looks like we're disrespecting that 50 here. That looks more than 50% of this wick. But we've got our 2 orders ready as soon as we see the market indicating that we potentially want to push. That'll be our cue. Jump in. So the 5-minute, we're still holding this level. Respect this. We'll just wait for the close. This is actually giving me a good indication. Liquidity sweep, we haven't closed above on a 30-second time frame. Again, because it's so low, it's subject to be disrespected quite easily. But let's see, on 1 minute, getting this nice reaction. So we just close. I really just want to watch this pocket here. Whether we respect this fair value, we push up. We got VWAP and this volume imbalance below us on a 30, but we also have all of this price to this actually contested. All the resistance all the way going up here. There's a tiny little gap here as well. Alright, I'm glad we didn't take that short. Still being patient, waiting for the confirmations. Seeing what we need to see before jumping in. 3 minutes, about to have its closure here as well. Lots of gaps, volume imbalances on the 3 as well. About 50% of that 15-minute wick now. We're just trying to see if we get some sharp movement to the downside. That's a nice reaction on this candle on the 15-second here. On the 30, let's see if we can close below these FVGs. This will be a good jump. This is looking promising here for our short entry. Match this with the higher time frame, but that 50% of that 15-minute wick. Alright, so this is going to be our first entry right
Order
here.
fill.
Stop's just going to go above these highs right here. This is the lesson that I learned from Friday where I blew the account. I started really quite silly with about 10 lots just straight away. Because we had the wins earlier in the day, I was just thinking, oh, momentum on my side. I can't go wrong. And all of a sudden, it definitely did. So nice closure here, just watching these lower time frames now. We're respecting for now, we've got VWAP, we've got that volume imbalance here. Ideally, we're just wanting all of these levels to disrespect it. See if we can get a bit to the downside. Still got this 50% level marked out. So ideally what we're looking for is disrespecting VWAP, disrespecting this volume imbalance, and then looking for a pullback to add the rest of the position. And so we're going to add 8 just to get to our 1 mini, even though we're trading micros here. Got stops at a reasonable spot. We've still got this 30-second. Risk is quite low, so everything's looking good for the time being. I just need to wait to confirm if we are indeed moving down, and then we're just going to find where our exits should be based on that. So 15 minutes probably ideally where we'd want to go. We've got a tiny little gap in here, and we've got these equal lows right there. So this would be a really nice spot. We can take out that liquidity, bounce, VWAP close as well. So if we just label this, I'll label this a different color again. I think the originals were purple. Let's go pink. 15-minute BC right in here. So this would be a nice spot. We've got these high time frame levels, which, as we said before, hold a bit more significance, hold a bit more weight. Final TP for now. We'll be at the bottom of this hourly BC, and we'll just let the trade do what it wants to do. This 15-minute is going to be interesting to see where this closes. And again, just watching the 5 to see if we close like this, and then this next 5 minute, we're closing somewhere down here. That is ideally what we want to see. 50% of this wick, and we're closing down, hopefully around 50% of this candle. But that's a big ask. We've had that 5-minute closure. Looking like a swing high forming here as well. If we can respect and not take this. And back in on the lower time frames. Holding this FEG for now. And again, still got 50% of this wick to test now as well. So charts can get a little bit messy. Quickly draw this in. Go this high. Let's see if we respect 50%. I'm pretty much at it right now. If we take this high, we'll look to cut this trade short. See if we just wick and then fall below. Very strange doji right there. Big volume imbalance from where we've closed. Again, still just watching the 5 and that 15-minute as well. I'm not sure how to see the fib retracement of this. Yeah. Again, just watching this 15-minute. See if we get this respection. As I said, I really want to work on not moving my stops, because I think we saw obviously from last episode what that did for the trade. So just going to keep everything as is and let price do its thing. We definitely pushed a lot higher than this 50%. We're above the 50% on the 15-minute as well. This isn't looking likely that we hold. We potentially keep on just pushing for the rest of this series, because all of this is filled right up until all the way down here. Could potentially look at longing. It's a massive Asian range. Where did Asia start? So it was all pre-Asia, like CBDRs where we had this move. Asia starts from this down close candle here. Got lots of fair value gaps going all over the shop here. But it looks like we're getting a nice push off that 30-second FEG. I'll zoom into that in a minute, but I'll just mark out the Asian lows. Yeah, it looks like we're pushing right back up. Respecting all these FEGs. Order flow is definitely still bullish for the time being. We're going to have stops at this high rather than that main one. I know I said about not moving, but this is clear indication to me. We set a plan, so we're just going to stick to it. Even if it means taking more of a loss, that's the plan. We're going to stick to it. And it needs to stop fluctuating as I trade. Initial plan, just stick with it. It's a bit of a downward move here. Again, just waiting for that 5-minute to see. Okay. So all this has really been filled. We haven't taken this high. Still tried to go higher from this point. It looks like this could potentially be the reversal spot. So we get a nice 5-minute closure after seeing a few wicks, and then we close more than 50%. I'm going to add the rest of this position. Nice will be around our initial entry. and we'll just wait and see what price wants to do. We can come all the way back here. We've got Asian lows right here. And so I'm going to take majority of the trade off here, anticipating a bit of a pushback. We've also got all these levels that we could run lower for, so we'll leave runners going. We'll just target the bottom of this alley Visi, because if we'd floor through and look for these lower liquidity areas that we had identified before, that could be the play for the day. All right, so let's have a look at where we closed. If we're below 50%, which I think we are, we indeed are. Just gonna wait to see though before we add more size on. That looks about 50% of this wick here too. So looking for rejection to the downside off this 1 minute. Wouldn't want to see these highs taken here. And again, using Tom Hurgard's methodology of only adding to your winners, we're going to wait to see if we can get down to our original entry before adding on the rest. Because that'll show us that we've at least got interested parties looking to take this lower. Then we can add heavy because we're adding 4 times what we've got here for the size. Seeing if we're respecting these wicks now. Still haven't had a closure above this 30-second FEG, as I say that. The price decides to show me up. Still haven't seen that displacement to the downside as well. We're still going counter trend for now at least.
Order filled.
And there we go, get stopped out. See how price reacts to this here. If we close above this high, I'm going to shut down the charts and wait for London, because we could be pushing up to those 4-hour civvies that we identified before. More than likely, we just chop as well as we're approaching end of Asian session. Just at the start of London, maybe around 1, 2 o'clock, look to take the highs, tap that civvy, and then look to push the downside. So yeah, if we close above these highs, then we will call it for today. Well, for the next hour or two. Excuse me. Quite tired today as well. Went to bed at 9:30 in the morning. Just feeling super productive last night, so I was editing videos. I did some Uber driving as well this morning to supplement some income. So yeah, it's been a bit of a late one for me. I don't want to test my mental capital right now. Hence why I'm taking it quite small, not trying to over leverage or just watch these low time frames. Interesting that we just wicked these highs on a 5-minute. Even on a 30-second, we're not getting crazy big closure to the side. I was watching the videos yesterday and I was going, hey, like I'm pretty accurate on price. But then I was watching it and I've made 15 predictions on where price. I don't think it's a matter of skill. I think that's just luck and putting as many variables. It's like doing a lottery and just picking as many numbers as you can. I'm going to stick to ideally 2 ideas. Just have 2 frameworks in, only work with those 2. And just take my time. Like I don't need to rush. And speaking of which, I'm going to implement something. I want to try and meditate a lot more. So I'm actually just going to pause here. You'll see the time is 2:34. I'm just going to meditate for 5 minutes. I'm going to shut my eyes, just breathe, especially being tired as well. My mental capital not being all. I'm just going to take it chill. We'll come back. If I will open my eyes and we're above these levels, we're just going to wait. If we're somewhere down here, we potentially look to pull back. Just going to meditate for 5. See you guys in a bit. Okay, 5 minutes has passed and we're back. It looks like we're coming back to the highs that we were at previously. As we said before, if we do get that closure, then we're just going to leave it, and that's looking like what we're getting right now. All I'm going to do is come to NASDAQ, which is technically US 100. I've got my alerts here all set as well. So we're just going to have the alert ping when we're close to approaching the city. We'll probably go a little bit higher. We're just going to hold off, wait till we get to 2 a.m. US time. We'll come back on the charts and we'll go from there. Peace. All right, we are back. We've got the little one with us, so you're hearing some noises. That's just her having a bit of fun in the background. But I think the original short idea is looking quite good now. Had our displacement taking out some lows. We're now under VWAP. We're at this volume imbalance on the 1, seeing if we get a closure below. It does look like that's what we're looking for. Gonna zoom back into the lower time frames, and we're just gonna enter here on VWAP. We've got our 5 orders ready. And we're targeting those lows that we had planned beforehand. Got this level in here. Looking like we might just fold without it. And we're gonna get
Order
in here.
filled.
Stops at this swing high. Looks like we're getting a bit of melt. So we got our Asian lows down here as well. This level marked out. We'll probably go right at it because we should, in theory, sweep. We probably get a push back to our initial plan. So we can add the rest of our 5 positions if we come back up here. Now, if we can disrespect under, ideally we'd like to come tap VWAP again. So we'll just put our limit order here. From an hourly perspective, we could dip all the way down into here. And we obviously have that hourly BISI in here as well too. I don't think we get all the way down here. I still think we take 2 off here. I'll just leave a runner going if we can get all the way down there. Check on the 30. The fact that we're already back here is a good indication that we could continue lower. Check this 5-minute here as well. Looking like a nice closure. If we get this 5-minute closure down below this previous 5, that'll be where we add our 5 remaining contracts. We'll see what price wants to give. Potentially have another 2 in here waiting to go. Another 2 in there. Just anticipating this closure below. This 3-minute, which could be pulling back into a VWAP. We got our 1-minute as well. So we'll stick on this 30-second for now. This is 15 to find VWAP. VWAP's still here. I like our entries at 50%. Looking like we might just disrespect and fold. So I'm just watching for the 5-minute closure, as if we're closing below, as we said before. Just add on to our position. Looking like we're getting a nice melt to the downside. Got these lows, which we might be holding out. Wouldn't be surprised if we run past all of this before continuing down. Just before the start of the London session as well here. So these displacing moves are really what's got my interest now. We're in the opposite direction. Y is just waiting. So we had our updated stop loss. We didn't push much higher than that as well. Still got this 4-hour BC above us. We're just going to wait and see. Just going to use the higher time frame for the gaps as always. Check the 3-minute. So hard to see. There's too much going on at the minute. Alright, so let's just see how that 5-minute closed. Yeah, we did close nicely. So I'm just going to put a self-stop order. So if we get below this low, that's where we get tapped in. We're going to go for this one first,
Order filled.
which we do. Our stops can be above this 5-minute high. Once we have displacement to the downside below 50%, price hasn't come back above this one. So anticipating the same thing for this downward move here. Got our 10 lots in. We're taking about 40% off. I'll probably add another 2 in here. So taking 60% off at around the Asian lows, learning from yesterday as well, just tapping the Asian highs and then reversing. Because we've had this bullish momentum up since the start of the day, we're just going to be looking to follow suit. This is just the opposite direction move to hopefully get some orders to continue running. We're going to let this one fold for the time being. We've got our final TP down here if we want to run for that hourly BISI. And then we have those lows identified on the higher time frames, like the 4-hour and the daily. Waiting to see. Got our stops at a logical area. If we can retest this and then drop again, we'll our stops to break even. Or if we can take some of these swings here, I'll mark these out. So I'm getting confused. Start. So if we can tap up into here and then move away, as I said, that's when move stops to break even. Just because we got this gap on the 3. Check the lower time frames as well. Just make sure we're not getting tunnel visioned. Yeah, so this would be the continuation to the downside. But for now, we're just going to let price do its thing. Just got to be mindful of 2 as well. Hopefully this is just the move to take Asian lows and then see from there where we're going to be heading for the rest of the day. All right, so that FEG, seeing if we can melt from this point, just seeing if we hold here on the 30, breaking on the 15 second. Just check the 1 minute, we respected on this candle. 30 second, we do close above. We do have these spots which we highlighted before. If we do get a close here, we'll get out
Order
here.
filled.
Take a minor loss. I think we actually took a little bit of profit on this. I'm anticipating just a bit of a pushback because we've closed above this. Targeting this area now again. Just looking for a better entry. Getting some steep reactions here as well. I still like the idea of going short, especially after breaking below these lows. It's likely to pull back. Same principle. Do 5 here, halfway. Got VWAP and a bunch of other stuff. Confirming as well. Cool. So if we can get above this high, I'm just going to put another sell stop here. Be pretty much at our original entry. I'll just see what price we were at 633.25. Cool. So that was our initial entry. We're right back at it now. Just going to put a sell stop here for 5. So if you do want to just hit VWAP and then melt, we're at least close to our original entry. But hopefully we just keep pushing up. We can get a far better entry to go short. As long as we don't displace crazily to the upside here. Because then that indicates we've got a lot of buying pressure. Could flip. Where we're at now, let's check on the higher time frames too.
Order filled.
Alright, tapped in on the original entry. Got a minute to go on this 15-minute candle. So we're trying to go lower. Volume imbalance here. Deep drop here. Seeing if we can close this 5 minute. If we can, we're going to add another 5 like we did before. Not a big fan of this big wick, especially when we have this volume imbalance. But I think higher time frames like that hourly. Okay. Maybe we've just tapped into this to continue going. I think with just the order flow that we've been having for now, I still like this idea. How about another 5 up here? Hopefully we can bring our entry a little. See if we can get there. Got a volume. It's here on the 3. Ideally wouldn't want to be seeing price come all the way here. We could test 50% of this wick. Yeah, possibility.
Order
Looks
filled.
like we're at the next spot. See what reaction we get here, especially on a lower time frame. Just gonna move my stops a tiny bit higher here, just to give it some room if you want to come into this volume imbalance. We're holding 50% of this 1 minute gap for now. Nice. If we can close below here, then we'll add another 5, and that will be our limit for the accounts. See if we can run this short. Like that, body's respecting 50%, tapping VWAP. It's looking pretty positive. Closing below 50%. This candle as well after a wick. 50%. It's looking pretty nice, I can't lie. Yeah, this will be the main sticky point now. So if we can see a move down here below this, below VWAP as well. We want to see big gap here. So definitely want to see this getting filled. 30 seconds. All right. Steep move to the downside. See if we can come fill out this volume imbalance. That's why we'll add another 5. That's the confirmation that we wanted to see, just as long as we close below here. Wouldn't want to see us come down wick and then we buy all the way back up like we're doing here, but we'll just wait and see. Steep downward move, volume imbalance. It's looking positive for a short. Cool. So we get the closure. Hopefully we just pull back up into here. Either way, we've got our 10 contracts on now. If we can squeeze an extra 5 micros, that would just take it at this high. And then we're just going to break it down on the higher time frames. So we've still got our initial limits on where everything needs to be. This 5 minute candle is looking quite Can flip bearish as well. Will be an added confluence. But let's see if we can push back up. Tap this volume
Order filled.
imbalance, which we do hit. Multiple wicks to try test this now. It's interesting. Filled that volume imbalance. Closing below these lows. That's
Order filled.
right. Tapping into here. So this is our final position that we got right now. Stops. Up reaction. Still have that gap. Giving it a little bit of room to breathe. We do have a volume imbalance actually on the one. Now, because all of this has technically been filled, tiny gap in here, but if we do push down into here, this is where we'd be looking. So stops at break even if we hit this black line. Still got VWAP on the one, just falling in line with the top of this box now too. So I've got our full position size.
Order filled.
Got stopped out at the 30-second VWAP here. Decent reaction. Pretty sloppy PA in here. That on the 5-minute doesn't look too great. And then we come back. We're just going to flip the narrative, at least be on side with the market this time. We tried 2 shorts that haven't gone our way, fighting the trend, learning from what we did last time. And we're going to look for a buy in here. Going to go heavy on the sides just because we're with the trend now. And we're anticipating a run up onto this 4-hour CB. Take partials at the highs, so that's midnight there. So we've got Asian session highs, which we've actually already taken. So that's interesting to note. So this is an inverted fair value gap now as well. Inversion from here. Looking at 50%. We did get in a little early, but that's fine. So Asian highs have already been taken. Haven't taken Asian lows yet though. So downside still susceptible.
Order filled.
Seeing if we can hold. We got a fair value gap. We got 50% of this. 3-minute inversion. 3 minutes closing quite nicely too. Okay. Tap all the way into the bottom of this. Volume imbalance on the one. Stay on the micro now. We can get a closure above all this. Looking pretty positive. So go back to, I don't think I want to get to 20 again. I think that was just a bit too much. Don't like that we've come down so sharply straight off the open. Here we go. See if we can flip this bullish.
Order filled.
Added to the winning position. Got 15 lots in now, so we'll just wait and see where price wants to go. I want to watch this swing high just because we have this gap in here. We've already taken that Asian high, so to run up for it again seems a bit unlikely. And if we do, chances are we're going to be pushing through. Because of how strongly we've started the day, I think this 4-hour CB becomes a little bit more attractive. We have London continuing the run from Asia. Or maybe London is just the stagnation. Then US we tap and run. So we'll just wait and see here what price wants to do. Low time frame just has that little bit too much noise. Watching the 5-minute here. Just be a pretty good indication. Got equal highs here, so that's looking like a nice target. Volume imbalance in here. Realistically, stuff should be about here. Heavy size, I know, but again, I'm just trying not to look at the dollar values. It's not about the money, but more so price. So there's a draw which we could be coming for here. Minute levels now here too. At least this time we do have the trend on our side. The past few trades, even yesterday, trying to take the reversal setups, they can pay dividends for sure, but I think just trading with the trend is something that I definitely notice. My losing days, I'm always against the trend. Always. So I'm gonna just let this trade chill out for a bit. Go do some stuff for about 5 minutes, come back and see where we're at. Okay. We are back for the time being. Just watching these gap levels. Trying to see if we have one on a higher time frame. Doesn't look like it. Okay. So if we can reach 50% of this wick, that's where we'd be looking to move our stops to break even. Just gonna label this 50% of the wick. Move stop E. And again, just working with the trend. I think I'm definitely going to need to work on that for the rest of this week. Just identify where we've been trending overall on a higher time frame and then just follow that rather than trying to do these reversal setups, which, yeah, sometimes like this, if we picked it from this morning and I was contemplating getting to the charts before Asia, Australian market open and just putting it along to at least recoup some of this would have been a monster, but it is what it is. Still grateful. Still got the opportunity to trade, so that's huge. Yeah. We're just gonna look for these pockets in here. 1 minute CB in there, and then a tiny little 1 minute CB in here. To see how price reacts to these levels. VWAP resting just below. Just going for the lowest point. If we were gonna add any more, we look to add 5 more in here. Price can reach the bottom of here. Bring our entry just a little bit lower. Overall for the move, we're seeing that price still wants to continue this overall trend of the day. Ideally, these will be very significant points where we partial move stops to break even. And we'll see what this Monday wants to bring. London session coming up soon. Got these wicks as well. So that's 50% of that 15-minute big wick. Come back, yeah, of this big move here. So 50%. We'll see. Nice 15-minute closure. I'll go back to the way that I had my charts actually, with the high time frame on the left, lower time frame on the right. I think that was super helpful in terms of just not getting lost in the source and just using the low time frames as like entry confirmations. All right, once again, just gonna let price do its thing. I'm gonna go back to reading for a little bit. All right, we are back. We've had some pretty expansive moves. Just watching the 1 minute now as we're at the CBs now. So move stops to break even. Probably have stops here. My chart analyst right here. She's a specialist, this little one. What do you see on the charts? Where do you reckon? Up or down? Which one? You show me with your hands. Okay. Let's see if your prediction's right, mama. Take stops just hit this swing low. It could be a good spot for price to start to floor down. But it's nice that we're adjusting stops if we actually do pump continuing to the upside. Protecting ourselves, but still not leaving anything off the table, which is quite nice. We've still got those 4 hour levels. We haven't hit that 50% of the wick. We have gone to and respected quite rapidly off of this little 1 minute CB up in here. So I'm not liking that, but it just will depend on how we bounce back. And again, using the higher time frames as well. So yeah, there shouldn't be any reason for us to come down below. Essentially this low here. But we'll just wait and see. Don't like that reaction, to be honest. Let's just see. Join in with you guys again when something happens. Just watching the stars. Ideally want to see this, but just continue. Nice doji here. Super. What's this? Wow. Respecting that 1 minute. Be new to dance it. Quick get some world. Stops with that volume.
Order filled.
This is aggressive. So again on again, so just to confirm, see if we invest any of this, especially on a fight. Start to tap into these areas we've already taken Asian highs. So this is why time is so important. Just at 2 o'clock. is when we start to see this big downward move. We do have volume imbalances in, and we'll see if we respect this one on layer 5. But the way we've moved down already is an indication that we might continue. We do wick all these lows.
Order filled.
I'm seeing what I want to see. We're getting this displacing move away. We can't take the highs. We've gone to that 1 minute SIBI. All of these factors compounding into one. So we are going to go heavy on a downward move here. Just watching the micro time frames. Seeing if we can get up into here. Ideally, VWAP as well. The 5. So put the 5 minute on this side.
Order filled.
Beauty. And we're just targeting for Asian lows right now. Had some nice 5 minute closures here, indicating strength to the downside. Check the 15 minutes here as well. Hopefully we get a nice bearish closure here. So much room to run. Minute coming up as well. Just going to do the same thing again. And we're just going to partial along the way. Just watching how price reacts at all these key levels. VWAP, just got buyers. Still interested, we close below this. With displacement, yeah, I'm liking this. To see if we've had any market structure shifts on the higher time frame. 5 ideally is the smallest we'd want to see one at. Still haven't received one yet, but we've closed and we've had displacing moves. Liking where everything is at here. Due to our original 15 of 5, I think. Just helpful for my psychology. Volume imbalance in here. Watch how this 15 closes if we can close bearish. I'm just going to let this one run for a bit. I still like this. Low resistance, liquidity, VC right here. Saying yeah, some swings, but just going to be mindful if we can come down to Asia, what we do with these Asian session lows. It's had a pretty strong upward move for the day. So hold on, that's not even Asian session lows. What am I doing? This is Asian session lows. So this falls in actually quite nicely. I think if we take off 15 at about here and then keep the rest as a runner, if we can hopefully get down here. So 15 minute, nice closure right here. We got a pullback potentially here. We got our stops above here. We wouldn't want to see this, breaker, order block be disrespected at 2 o'clock as well. Could just be a pullback to come back. Check on the lower time frames if we have any gaps around here. We could be looking for, yeah, okay. This is one here, which we have respected for now. Clean up the chart. Still got 50% of that wick, which we haven't touched. Just looking for a move down here. If we can get that, then I'm inclined to chill out, read for a bit. But for now, I'm still just going to be monitoring price. Alright, so it looks like price is wanting to potentially continue moving to the downside. I am just going to do some reading. Check back in about 5-10 minutes. Alright, we are spooling quite heavily to the downside now. We just got to be mindful where we might be turning around. Still got Asian lows as our target here. Move stops to break even right now. And now we're at the position where we just let the trade do what the trade wants to do. Right, we're still continuing to spool. Watching the 5 minute. We're close to these Asian session lows. Just going to see, hopefully we spool, take these lows. Still got that hourly level below us as well. So we'll see if we can get down there. Promising, I don't like that steep pullback here though. That's why I like just watching the lower time frames as well. Because we are so deep, we're at VWAP on the 15 as well. Asian session lows being so low, I do think that's the clear draw for now before we see a move back to the upside. Just watching on these lower time frames, just making sure that's not a key zone. I'm not liking that on the 1 minute at all. It's not looking too promising, but the higher time frame is where we need to be staying at. Really would not want price coming above here. If we respect VWAP on the 3 minute here, in this last minute. We'll just look to close out the position. 1 more minute to go here. Just watching the micros again. 15 seconds looking good. Just seeing if we get below 50% of this. And just going to move stops to here. This swing high. And that'll do us for the day. So if we do 1085 instead, it's putting us at 791. That's great for all 4 accounts for the day. We'll just see what price wants to do here. We're at about 50% of this. Try not to be too greedy here as well. Got the 3 minute respecting VWAP again. Oh, little push below. Great time frames again here. Let's see if we can push down here, continue this downward move. Looks like this is where we try and at least recuperate some. Let's watch the 5 minute. Yeah. So stops really ideally should be probably here. But respecting VWAP, just try not to be greedy. Huge green day on the accounts. So that is multiplied by all of these. Very blessed, need to get rid of this. Do not want to be tapped in right here. Just watching on the 5 whether we hold. The 1 minute looks a bit gnarly with this. But that is us done for the day. I'm going to lock out all of these accounts so I don't get tempted to trade. And that's episode 3. So 784.42 multiplied by 4 accounts puts us at 3137 US for the day. Convert this to Australian. So nice 4.8k day. Just got to be grateful. Asian lows still make sense, which we are seeing here. But again, grateful for the day here. Just had a combine that's been reactivated as well. Yeah, this one here. We could potentially look at some more trades later in the day once we hit one of these key levels here. I'm still targeting this 4-hour CB with this strong upward move for the day. But yeah, huge. I really can't complain. Super blessed. Thank you for joining me for another episode. This downward move, we didn't get up to 50%. We respected that 1 minute CB quite rapidly as well. Got to here, big doji, and just started pushing down at 2 o'clock as well. So in the kill zone, and that's why timing is really important. Super blessed. Good green day. See you tomorrow. I'll probably put the combine on here, depending on if there's a setup available. But if not, I will see you guys tomorrow on Tuesday for episode 4. Peace.